Thank you for your patience, everyone. I'd like to call the Wednesday, June 24th City Council meeting to order. We have nothing to report from our closed session. Let's go ahead and get started. And we'll start with our flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Next item is roll call. Councilmember Karpinski Costa.
Present.
Councilmember Nelson.
Present.
Councilmember Schaefer.
Here.
Vice Mayor Middleton. And Mayor Lopez Taft.
Here. Next item, please.
This meeting of the Citrus Heights City Council is live and recorded with closed captioning. It is cablecast on Metro Cable Channel 14, the local government affairs channel on the Comcast and DirecTV UVerse cable systems. It is also live streamed at citrusheights.net. Today's meeting replays on Monday, June 29th at 9 a.m. on Metro Cable Channel 14. This meeting can also be viewed on the city's YouTube channel.
Thank you very much. Next item, please.
Next item is approval of agenda.
Move approval.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, abstentions? All
We got to
right.
do roll call because Portia's not, is she online?
No, she is absent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the reminder, but we do have ayes.
Ayes.
All right.
Aye.
And do we then need a roll call vote if we have one absent?
No.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Next item, please.
Next item is presentation number 4, proclamation of the City of Citrus Heights recognizing the America the Entrepreneurial campaign.
All right, I am so personally excited about this particular proclamation, born out of a wonderful conversation on a flight to DC. And if I can invite Cameron Law. And so we welcome California Coalition Manager of the Right to Start, a nonprofit that seeks to expand entrepreneurial opportunity for all, and that's you, Cameron. Welcome. So the way we do proclamations here in the city of Citrus Heights is we read the proclamation. You make any comments regarding your organization and what this means to your organization. We make some comments if my colleagues have that desire, and then we'll take some official photos.
Sounds awesome.
All right. Recognizing the America the Entrepreneurial campaign, whereas entrepreneurs have played a critical role in revitalizing Citrus Heights, and it is fitting to publicly recognize and celebrate the vital contributions of entrepreneurs to the prosperity and well-being of our community, and whereas entrepreneurship reflects a core American ideal and has been woven into the identity of the United States since its founding, establishing a culture that rewards innovation and resilience. And whereas America the Entrepreneurial is an initiative to renew our nation's entrepreneurial spirit in honor of America's 250th anniversary. And whereas the America the Entrepreneurial campaign promotes innovation, opportunity, and entrepreneurship for future generations, and whereas entrepreneurs are essential to fostering economic prosperity, creating homegrown jobs, raising incomes, generating wealth, building stronger communities, and diversifying goods and services, and whereas the City of Citrus Heights has demonstrated a strong commitment to supporting local businesses through a flexible, business-friendly regulatory framework, offering a suite of business support tools such as the Business Attraction Incentive Program, and partnering with businesses to enhance their safety and eliminate blight. Now therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Citrus Heights does hereby recognize the America the Entrepreneurial campaign and will continue to actively encourage more entrepreneurship across our city. Now, I know we have this conversation specifically in the context of how excited I am about encouraging young entrepreneurs, in addition to all entrepreneurs of all kinds. So, Cameron, any comment?
Yeah, terrific. Well, first off, want to say thank you to all of you for the recognition and support. It means a lot to myself, and then also to Right to Start, a national organization really aimed at driving entrepreneurial opportunity. And one of the key things I want to highlight is the right and Right to Start, and that's really that all Americans have the right to start a business. And we might hear entrepreneurship as a thing that's taken off more recently, but data has shown that we're at a 30-year decline in new business starts per capita. So we're actually starting less businesses than we ever have before. And so that has a dramatic impact on our communities, particularly as you look at the data around economic development. All net new jobs come from new business and young business starts. And so when we think about building a prosperous Citrus Heights and a greater Sacramento region and the state of California and nation, entrepreneurs are vital to doing that. And so your recognition of continuing to invest in entrepreneurship and creating that opportunity here in the city is really impactful. Two additional data points I wanted to highlight that was mentioned in the proclamation was the impact on poverty and inequality. And so when you think about actually every % of increase in entrepreneurial activity drives an average household income of $400 for that particular community. And so when we start to see continued activation of entrepreneurship, we can see dramatic change in our community. And so it's a momentous occasion here with the 250th anniversary of the United States, and so really proud to have Citrus Heights join in this national campaign and stand with entrepreneurs. And really, our aim is to create a unified voice for entrepreneurs. They're often too busy building their businesses to come to council meetings and advocate on their behalf, and so really appreciate your time and attention and recognition for that.
Thank you, Cameron. Any remarks from our colleagues? Okay. All right, we'll take our photo, and we're very excited about this. Thank you, Cameron.
Thank you.
All right. Go 3, 2, 1. And bear with me, I have another phone. 3, 2, and 1. Thank you.
Next item, please.
Next item is presentation number 5, proclamation of the City of Citrus Heights recognizing Trust Barber Shop as the 2026 Business of Distinction Pride of Place Award recipient.
I have the honor of this proclamation here. So this evening, we are pleased to have the owner of Trust Barber Shop and his wife with us to accept this proclamation. So come on up, please. Trust Barber Shop is being honored as a locally owned business that has transformed a previously vacant space into a clean, modern, and welcoming destination. So we have Rostislav, or Ross, and Tatiana Kisilik. How do you say your last name?
Kiselyuk.
Kisilik. Okay, thank you so much for being here. All right, so we are recognizing Trust Barber Shop as the 2026 Business of Distinction Pride of Place Award. Whereas the City of Citrus Heights recognizes businesses of distinction for their meaningful contributions to the community, and whereas the City of Citrus Heights values the beautification and activation of commercial spaces, recognizing that business-led investment creates attractive and thriving places, And whereas Trust Barbershop transformed a previously vacant suite into a clean, modern, and welcoming business through thoughtful reinvestment, including updated signage, improved lighting, and refreshed storefront. And whereas Trust Barbershop has demonstrated a commitment to excellence by investing in quality equipment, maintaining a professional and comfortable environment for its clients, providing outstanding customer service, earning recognition as a highly rated barbershop on Google Maps, and contributing to the vitality and economic success of Citrus Heights, the Citrus Heights community. Whereas these visible improvements have enhanced the surrounding commercial center and exemplify the spirit of the Pride of Place Award through a commitment to reinvestment and stewardship. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Citrus Heights does hereby recognize Trust Barbershop as a 2026 Business of Distinction Pride of Place Award recipient and extends sincere appreciation for its contributions to the community, along with best wishes for continued success in the years ahead.
Now, I know we have a little bit of a presentation just to kind of tee up this wonderful award a little bit further.
Yeah, we're super excited to be recognizing another Business of Distinction. And for those of you who might be hearing about the program for the first time, it ties back to our economic development work plan and our commitment to recognizing these local businesses that are doing really good work in our community. And part of the fun includes championing these stories. So each quarter, we highlight a different business through an open nomination process. This quarter, the category was Pride of Place, and it recognizes those businesses that either made a significant investment in their storefront or activated a vacant site. Trust Barbershop did both. They activated a vacant site and made significant investments. You can see their very cool signage, and they made plenty of upgrades to the inside as well. So we're excited to be recognizing them today for all of their improvements and for their business. And it's also an award that aligns quite nicely with a lot of priorities of the city, so beautification and reinvestment, especially along Auburn Boulevard, where we've seen a lot of significant improvements in the last couple of years. So congratulations, Ross. And I don't know if you had a couple of words you wanted to share, but we've got a plaque for you.
Thank you so much. It means a lot for me and my business. I'm really proud to be a part of the Citrus Heights, and we will try to continue to do all the best and invest in our business. Thank you.
Wonderful. Do we have any other comments from my colleagues? All right, yeah.
I just want, that was really nice and concise, your speech there, very good, very good job. That's not an easy thing to do.
Well, thank you. All right,
Someone
and
who
we'll
doesn't
take our
need a
official
haircut.
photo. Oh, did you have another
No, I was just
comment?
saying, coming from someone who doesn't need a haircut.
Thank you.
Oh, picture.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, next item, please.
Next item is presentation number 6, presentation by the Sacramento Municipal Utility District on its tree maintenance program.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and City Manager Feeney. Regina Cave, your General Services Director. This next item before you is a presentation by SMUD, which satisfies a previously requested item from the council. So we have Tim Padden and Daryl Daniel will be joining.
Thank you, Regina. Good evening, Mayor Lopez Taft, council members. I'm Tim Padden, Government Affairs Manager for SMUD. First of all, SMUD serves a lot of local jurisdictions. I think we have 7 total, but candidly, Citrus Heights might be my favorite because I grew up here in Citrus Heights, near Old Auburn and Twin Oaks. I used to work at the old Tompkins Market. I don't know if anybody remembers that market back in the day, but
I remember that.
You remember
is
that
my
market?
area.
yeah, that's
And you
probably
might
where I
remember
saw
his
you.
dad.
It's,
You might remember his dad was John Patton. Who ran,
John, yes, my father was actually a part of the incorporation efforts of Citrus Heights back in
ran for first
1990s.
city council, was on our planning
Yes.
commission. I remember him.
Thank you, I
Well,
appreciate
welcome.
that. Great to be here, yes. I'm here tonight in my daytime capacity, which is Government Affairs Manager for SMUD. Councilmember Karpinski-Costa, this goes back to our conversation that we had at Cap to Cap, and just kind of giving overview of SMUD's kind of tree trimming, tree pruning practices, and just our veg management program as a whole. I'm going to invite Daryl Daniel from our veg management team, who actually will walk through the presentation this evening. But I wanted to thank you for this opportunity to present tonight our practices in veg management. I also wanted to briefly mention that SMUD announced yesterday that we have a new CEO General Manager. Our current CEO General Manager, Paul Lau, is retiring effective August 1st, and we named Laura Ongwai as the new CEO General Manager. So her duties will become effective August 2nd. She's currently our Chief Zero Carbon Officer at SMUD, and so she's an internal candidate. She's been at SMUD for 22 years. But in case you had not heard, wanted to bring that to your attention this evening. So with that, I'll turn over to Daryl Daniel, who's going to walk through the presentation this evening.
Welcome,
Good.
Daryl.
Thank you. Good evening. So I'm Daryl Daniel. I'm a program manager for SMUD's Vegetation Management Department. I'm a certified arborist, and I have been in the industry for 17 years. Almost all of that has been here at SMUD, with the large portion in Citrus Heights. Most of my career actually was reporting to a work site starting and ending right there at Greenback and Sunrise, where there's a substation. Spent a lot of days, nights, storm season, coming up and down Greenback. So very familiar with Citrus Heights, love the area, so I'm happy to be here. I'm going to give you guys an overview of our vegetation management program. But first, okay, thank you. Thank you. So SMUD's mission and vision really is to ensure that we enhance the quality of life for our community owners, right? We are a public agency, and we are owned by the community, by all of us that live in the various local jurisdictions that Tim pointed out. And we want to make sure that we're improving the quality of life while ensuring that we provide safe and reliable power. So SMUD does have key pillars that help support our mission and vision. Utility vegetation management really does overlap with all of those. So while typically when people think of keeping trees from power lines, they think of, hey, that's to keep the lights on. It's also to ensure safety. And then how we carry out our program needs to be done in a way that has environmental leadership woven in, affordability, and then being agile in our work, being flexible to work with our customers who really have a lot of care of the trees, and we need to make sure that we're addressing those and weaving that in our work. Next slide. So an overview of our department. There's over 200 employees in vegetation management. 27 of those are internal SMUD employees. The remaining are contract staff. That number does fluctuate, sometimes much higher, but the average sits around 200. Our contracts are typically 3 to 5 years, and then most of those folks are actually here. So while it may be a company that comes from out of the area, all of the staff typically are hired from local workers and carry over. I know I've worked with some of the same people for 17 years that are still there on the contract staff and have been very familiar with the area. Our internal staff are certified arborists, so there's over 20 of them that are performing that field work, and they're all certified arborists that are doing the inspection and follow-up kind of quality control to make sure that the work that's being done is done the right way to meet our arboriculture best practices. And then 3 of our what we call vegetation work planners, our inspectors, are board-certified master arborists. Only 1% of all arborists in the world have achieved that kind of ranking and accreditation, and SMUD is fortunate enough to have 3 of them on staff. And then in total, we have over 450 years just in those 27 people doing vegetation management work the right way. Our footprint, really, we manage about 100,000 trees on average. The number that's on the slide is 85 to 109 because it fluctuates. And we touch about 2,500 total miles of line a year. And we get through our system, our service territory, about every 2 years. And our arborists that are out there doing the inspection, they create work for approximately 50,000 customers, so that's residential homes, and they talk to, in person, at least half. The expectation is at least half of them are talked to. Any that they're not able to talk to, they leave multiple contact attempts to try to get a hold of somebody so that they can be aware of the work. Even if we've done it 12, 15, 20 times before, we want to try to have that personal conversation, so if there are concerns, we can make sure that we have that incorporated into our workflow. And then our department alone, not counting the Sac Tree Foundation and SMUD Cares events, but just our 27 people plant about 350 trees a year throughout the community. One great area we planted was actually in Citrus Heights. There's a pollinator garden that we started off Sunrise that we worked with city and park staff to get up and running. And then obviously our work is critical during storm time to get those trees cleared, get those lines cleared so that power can be restored. So why do we do vegetation management? Why are we out there pruning and at times removing hazard trees? Really, there are 2 of the 4 regulations that are on the slide that apply to the city of Citrus Heights. So the federal standard is FAC-003-5. That requires certain clearances to be maintained on transmission assets. So those are like the big steel structures, lattice towers that you see if you're familiar with like C-Bar-C Park, Sundance, Tempo Park, they run through there. What that has, aside from just the clearance requirements, which are pretty large as far as how much we have to keep clear, it also has a 0 tolerance threshold. So what that means is a tree cannot grow within a certain distance or cause an outage. If it does, the federal government will create pretty heavy fines, up to about $1 million a day for the time and period that that condition existed. So if a tree grows within that clearance distance, because we were there, let's say, last year, and we hadn't been there yet, and it was able to grow in there, and it sat there for 6 days before we found it, that could be up to about $6 million fine. So we have to make sure that we align to that federal standard. And then the more kind of widespread is that General Order 95, or what people call GO 95, Rule 35. That applies to all the distribution lines, so that's what's common, backyards, along the roadsides. And that is that the utility has a responsibility to ensure safety and reliability, and a minimum standard clearance on those lines. It is a different clearance distance based on the voltage of the line in your backyard or potentially parks. So our arborists have to, when they're doing their work, assess how much is that tree going to grow? Is it going to potentially get within that distance before we're back? And then create a work scope to address those to make sure that we don't have any safety issues, reliability issues, or regulatory challenges. So City of Citrus Heights does obviously have a pretty good footprint. How we manage our work is we divide our regions or our system up into polygons or regions. We call them sub-areas. So our distribution system consists of 137 sub-areas. 13 of those overlap the city of Citrus Heights, and then one of our transmission corridors overlaps the city of Citrus Heights. And then there's a very high-level work process here, but really when it comes down to our year-round routine maintenance that we're doing, we send out notification letters to all of the customers that live within a certain distance to our assets that, hey, we're going to be out with our arborists doing inspections. They're going to go through and see if any trees do need work or if there's any future conflicts that can work with you. So we send out that notification, and then the arborists are assigned the inspection. They go out to pretty much every inch of the line, and they check for vegetation conflicts, and then they assess, again, that growth or defect, and they determine what work scope is needed, and then attempt to contact the tenants or landowners or agencies, depending on where the trees are, and work out, hey, what work are we going to be doing there? To make sure, obviously, we ensure reliability and safety, but also that the work can be done in a manner that will meet ISA, which is the society who certifies us arborists, in their requirements and their best management practices. So we have to make sure that the work we're doing is in the best interest of the tree. Otherwise, it's a different conversation with the customer so that we can make sure that we don't do anything that's detrimental to the tree's health. So once they write that work up in those sub areas that were on the previous slide, they package all that up, and then they go to issue it out to a tree company. Again, one of the companies that's on our contract for 3 to 5 years. And then right before the contractor can go start, we send a follow-up notification to any customer that did get work written to their property, so to their address. And if they have an email on file, they'll also get an email that says, hey, we're now starting the tree work. We finished our inspection. That tree work is slated to start, and the contractor is X. So whether it's Mountain Enterprise or Utility Tree Service at this time, it'll have their logo. It'll tell them how to verify that's actually one of our contractors, and then how to contact that contractor if they want to schedule ahead or if they have some kind of thing that they want to clarify. And then obviously they still have the contact for our arborists that had been out there to be able to get a hold of them as well. And then our tree crews go out and start the work. I'll get to it in the next slide. Sorry, 2 slides from now. One thing that does pop up outside of our routine maintenance program that you may see is anytime you do have an outage, even if a tree crew wasn't needed, so a tree fell, but they're able to put the line back up, we still send an arborist out to do an investigation to gather a lot of pertinent details. How old was that tree? What was the species? What size? What were the site conditions, soil conditions? So that we can learn from those failures and adjust our maintenance program going forward so that we can try to avoid those if necessary. Next slide. So what I was trying to get to was our arborists, when they're out working with these customers, if they do identify, hey, this is actually a city tree or a protected tree that needs enhanced pruning, so a change to how it's been pruned to before, or it needs removal, they'll work with the key city staff that we typically work with. These are not all of them, obviously. It's just the 2 that we've worked with pretty heavily throughout the year. So Armando or Allison, which now we work with the whole planning department. They'll work with them if it's one of those protected trees or city trees. If it's not, it doesn't meet those, then once they've packaged up their work, our tree contractor notifies the city, hey, this is where we're going to be encroaching, where we're going to be working, and what type of work we're doing. So our program is pretty big. We manage, like I said, 100,000 trees a year, but we have to make sure we're doing it the right way. So one thing that SMUD has done is we went through a process through what's called the Right-of-Way Stewardship Council, and we became one of only 7 utilities in all of North America to achieve the Right-of-Way Steward accreditation. This isn't just a kind of fill out a piece of paper, feel good activity. This is actually a pretty intensive, it's an audit essentially of your entire program. So I got the privilege of doing one of our accreditations, and it's a months-long process of exchanging a lot of data, processes, procedures. They go through it all, and then they say, great, that's all fantastic. Here's some areas we've identified for some challenges, but now we want to come out and see, are you actually walking the walk or walking the talk? And they come and they spend at least a week with you, and they go out and they see how your crews are interacting with trees, how your arborists are interacting with the customers, how your education outreach is. They want to make sure that you align to those expectations, which is why right now SMUD is one of only 7 utilities that's able to be a right-of-way steward. But it's a fantastic process for us to help make sure that, hey, are we making sure that we're at that leading edge of all of the best management practices and that we're following it in the field? That our arborists are doing the right work, that our tree crews are doing the right work, and it's a great accomplishment. And we've had it for 11 years now, so we've gone through it a few times. On top of that, SMUD has been Tree Line USA recognized for over 22 years. I get to help along with Betty Lowe continue our accreditation every year and make sure that our training and all of our processes meet the requirements and exceed them, because we want to make sure we keep that. It's very important to us. One way that really all of the community, myself and everybody here in the city, we can help make sure that the canopy throughout our communities continues to grow in the right way is to plant the right trees in the right place. This is one of the probably biggest challenges that we get to work on, is, hey, when we go to put a tree in, is it the right tree for the right spot? So when there are overhead power lines, typically the mature height is what needs to be considered, not the 6 foot, 3 foot tall tree that you're buying, but when it's gonna be 35, 40, 60 feet, can it actually be there? So when you're looking at a spot with power lines, it's typically 25 feet in height at maturity that you want to limit it to if you're within that first 20 feet near those high voltage lines. Obviously, that does change with voltages, but this diagram's a great example. So this way, the tree can actually reach its full potential versus having to be pruned out in a manner to get it to grow away from the lines. And then a great opportunity that SMUD is a partner in is the Sacramento Tree Foundation. So every SMUD customer qualifies, and you can get up to 10 free shade trees. And it's not a one and done. Like, I know I've personally used it a couple times as I've grown the canopy at my own property, and I highly recommend anybody to contact it, even if you only want 1 or you want 10 or you're not sure. They have foresters that'll help walk through that to make sure you do have the right tree in the right place. And get some great canopy growth out there.
All right.
All right?
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Daryl. I wanted to just make a few comments myself, and feel free to stay up here, because I believe my colleagues also have questions. I was a recipient of a SMUD tree, and when we first moved into our house, so I'm happy to say that was the perfect tree in the right location. We were counseled well, and it's 26 years old, and it's a beautiful river birch that is home to many wonderful birds that we hear every morning. So thank you for that advice of new homeowners who had no idea what to do after we removed a invasive mulberry tree. So really appreciate that service. I do have a curiosity. How are the way you trim the tree, how is that determined? Because some are trimmed in very odd, the result is very odd, and I don't know how those decisions are made. Just curious.
Yes. So the arborist that's out there is usually making the prescription for how that tree needs to be pruned. Just to be, it takes into the homeowner's concerns as well. So if a customer is, hey, I want to be very mindful, and they want minimum pruning, it may change the prune pattern and give it an odd shape, and then a lot of times just it's the wrong tree for that location. So if you have a tree that wants to be 60 feet tall planted directly underneath the power lines, it can't ever get about bigger than 25 feet, so it has to be pruned. Typically, it starts with a crown reduction, and then we're directionally pruning it away so that it can grow away and actually achieve some semblance of canopy to provide some benefit. But at times they do aesthetically look a little unique. But we do assess those, and if we find, hey, the pruning of this might be detrimental to the tree, that's when we really get with the customer city and say, we've got to do something different here. And at times that does involve removal or replacement, or a slow phased work of planting, maybe it's multiple trees, so that this one can slowly go into retrenchment and then be replaced.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was specifically thinking about the tree line along Old Auburn. So that I know I've gotten some comments from my neighbors about that. All
Yeah, and
right.
if there are ever any sites that any of the community is concerned about, please feel free. We have vegetation.management@smud.org. They can email that over. Address and pictures are great, and then we will have an arborist out there the next day to check it out typically. Sometimes it may take a couple days if there's a storm, but usually it's the following day, if not the same day, because we want to make sure that there's no ill-performed work out there.
Say that email address one more time.
Vegetation.management@smud.org.
Thank you.
And then I can send
All
it
right.
to
Dr. James.
Regina.
First of all, I want to thank the council member who seconded my request to have this presentation. I want to thank staff for contacting SMUD. I want to thank Mr. Patton because I ran into him in Captain Cap, and I want to thank you for coming. We're Tree City, you know, Citrus Heights, and our canopy in our city is one of the biggest in the region. I remember when I was on air quality, we've cut down some for some development, but basically we still have a lot of trees. So I have a picture of a tree on Highland Avenue. And so I want you to see that tree. Look at that tree. That's looking from west to east on Highland Avenue. And then the second picture is looking from east to west on the other side. That tree is ready to fall on that house. This is the same tree from the other side of it.
So we'd have to take a look,
Look at that tree.
go out there and assess it.
That's going to fall on that guy's house.
Just based on the photos, it looks like a stone pine. That is a conflict.
It's-
Very briefly, looking at the picture, there's a subtransmission and a distribution line there. But I would love to have an arborist go out and assess the tree
No,
and
I'm
see
just
what's
thinking,
happened there.
this is, if you're looking for what's good for the tree, that's not my tree. If it was, I'd be outraged. So it's a bad cut for a tree.
So we would definitely want to take a look
So
there.
do you go to the owner and say, hey, that tree doesn't look good, we ought to take it out and give you a new one?
So in a case where, I can't comment again on this one without looking into exactly
Is-
what's
is that
happened.
something you do
But
if it's on
yes,
private
if there's a tree that requires pruning that is potentially detrimental or puts the tree unsafe, and not just visually it looks odd, but hey, this is unsafe potentially, then we work with that customer, but it is the customer's tree. If they choose to not have the tree removed, we would not force that on a customer.
Well, I don't know if he does or doesn't. I'll ask him.
Yeah, and you said it's on Highland, if we could
Highland
get the
Avenue.
location?
I drive by it. Highland Avenue between Deerfield and Sunrise on the
We'll look at it and follow
south
up.
side of the street. Because I drive by it and I went, oh my gosh, this. the
Yeah,
guy
we will
lives there.
definitely look at
First
it.
name is Randy, that's all I know. I don't know his last name.
Somebody will be there tomorrow.
Say it. Randy.
Yeah.
All right, Councilmember Schaefer?
Thank you, Mayor. So, I volunteered for the Sunrise Recreation Park District to help clean up the parks. And the job I was assigned was to snip sucker trees. I don't know what the species is. Are you familiar with them? They volunteer everywhere. They volunteer, and they grow really fast. And on my property, I mean, my goodness, you got to stay on top of those things. Is there anything, are you familiar with the species of tree I'm talking about?
I'm not. I know we deal with a lot of different invasive species.
that's
Ailanthus
pretty
is one that
invasive.
grows up pretty quick. Catalpa, willow, they'll take over a site.
Grow really fast, and
Yeah.
they just, I mean, you turn your back on them, and they will be 20 feet tall, and,
You go to Home Depot and come back and they're 6 feet tall.
yeah. So, anyway, I was just curious if you knew what the reference to the suckers that the Parks Department calls them.
That's usually what a lot of people just refer to, like a young tree
Yeah.
growing up,
All right.
but it could be many. We get to work with Sunrise often.
Fair enough, thank you.
All right, Councilmember Nelson?
Thank you very much, Mayor. Thank you for being here. I also have been a recipient of the Sac Tree Foundation, and it's a great program. So I do echo that sentiment. I think everybody should reach out to them and see if they can get some trees. I was curious, what are the protected trees that you mentioned?
So it varies depending on the area. So different agencies have different protected tree thresholds. And it may be species, so typically native oaks, buckeyes, California sycamores are protected in most areas. And then certain sites, like commercial sites or multifamily dwellings, they may say, and I'd have to look at citrus sites to be specific on theirs, but it may be, hey, at 24 inches, regardless of species, it's now protected. Or something that meets the parking lot shade threshold, now that site's protected because you have to maintain that. So it varies, but the commonality throughout Sacramento is the native trees are protected.
Gotcha. Okay. And those are treated differently, I imagine, when the arborists are out there assessing and inspecting as far as
We
being
want
pruned.
to protect all trees, but we definitely take that into consideration, and the approach of who we're talking to changes. Really, when you get to those protected trees, now instead of just working with that customer, you're also going to work with the city staff or city arborist to make sure that there's alignment across the board of what we're seeing.
Okay, thank you.
I do want to add that you do have good customer service. They come to your house, they knock on your door, say, we're going to be here trimming. You do have very good customer service.
I'm glad to hear that.
I agree with that.
They're my direct reports, so I was nervous. Thank you.
Awesome. Any other comments or questions? Well, thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you all very much.
Next item, please.
Next item is presentation number 7, presentation by the Economic Development and Community Engagement Department on the Youth Engagement Survey.
Good evening, Council. I'm Megan Huber, Economic Development and Community Engagement Director. I am about ready to share a really fun and valuable project that we embarked on through community engagement initiatives as it relates to youth engagement. Council's received some highlights and teasers of this project over time, but we know that Council certainly has a strong desire for and big enthusiasm around enhancing youth engagement in Citrus Heights. So I thought we would tell the full story here for posterity, and so our community at home and watching can hear it as well. Council has such enthusiasm for youth engagement that you set a strategic objective to that effect last round of annual strategic planning to enhance collaboration with the school district through co-branded communications, joint media efforts, and city channels to boost engagement and visibility, and we were accountable to regularly update you on progress, milestones, and impact. Along with that, as Mayor Lopez Taff embarked on her year as mayor and set some highlight priorities, youth engagement really elevated as a priority as well, both in and of itself and through community service messaging as well. So we combined all of that into an outreach initiative specifically to grades 6 through 12 students in Citrus Heights. And I'd like to share a little bit about what that looked like. We issued 2,500 letters, that's hard copy, that went into backpacks, through school office, into classrooms, and ultimately into backpacks to reach students and their trusted adults. And that was issued to Kingswood K-8, Lichen K-8, Woodside K-8, Sylvan Middle School, Mesa Verde High School, and San Juan High School. I want to pause here and give huge thanks to the San Juan School District team, especially Cassie Bennett, the administrator of our Citrus Heights schools. That was a very manual aspect of this program, as you can hear, and we really appreciate her help and engagement there. For full effect, I'm going to take a moment to read this letter, just to impart the message here and how we are engaging youth. Dear Citrus Heights students, my name is Mary Jane Lopez Taff, and I am the mayor of Citrus Heights. I'm writing to invite you to share your perspective on our community. Citrus Heights is led by a city council, a group of elected officials who work together to make decisions about the city. As mayor, I work alongside the city council to help guide policies, programs, and investments related to parks, streets, libraries, public safety, transportation, community events, and services that support residents and families. While schools are operated by the school district, the city plays an important role in shaping what life looks like outside of the classroom. That includes where people gather, how they get around, what activities are available, and how connected and supported residents feel in their community. One of the most important responsibilities of the mayor and city council is listening. Young people experience the city differently than adults, and your input helps us better understand what is working, what is missing, and where we should focus our efforts. That's why we are asking you to complete the short survey using the QR code on the right or visiting this website address. Your responses will be reviewed, summarized, and shared for discussion at an upcoming city council meeting, and they will help inform future programs, partnerships, and community planning. Now, I think maybe this is the most important part coming right up. To make it fun, we're also turning this into a friendly challenge. Each student who completes the survey will be entered for a chance to help their grade level win, and the top 3 grade level classes at any Citrus Heights school with the most completed surveys submitted will earn a VIP ice cream truck visit with city council members. Thank you for taking the time to participate. Your voice matters, and we truly value your perspective. So a few key messages in there that I want to highlight. Number 1, youth engagement principles in general, asking to listen and to collect information. Number 2, underscoring the delineation between the services that the city provides versus direct youth service providers like our school district and our Parks and Recreation Department. This serves both as civic education, early civic education, learning experience, along with engagement and listening. And the great news is we had almost 33% of all students who engaged with this letter take the survey. And I'm going to take a quick minute to show some of those results. We'll review the questions. I'm going to scan pretty quickly through this data and not spend a whole lot of time line by line because I do have some summary slides, but I wanted to give you an idea of what it looked like. We asked students what school they attended, the grade that they're in, go middle schoolers for their engagement, definitely winning the race there. Where do you spend time in Citrus Heights outside of school? Top options that were selected include mostly at home, parks or outdoor spaces, walking or biking in my neighborhood. Kids are getting fresh air, which is great to see. What do you value most about living in Citrus Heights? Select up to 3. Top answers include being close to family or friends, consistent with our principle of community connection. Number 2, parks, trails, and outdoor spaces. Finally, safe or comfortable neighborhoods. We can hear how that aligns with a lot of community priorities that we review for annual strategic planning as well. Have you or your family ever participated in a city program, event, or activity? More on this one later and some ideas we had to increase those yes answers. What would make Citrus Heights better for middle school aged students? Top answers included more safe places to hang out, more activities or events for teens, more arts, music, or creative programs, and sports and recreation options. What would most improve Citrus Heights for teens and young adults? First, at 76%, more job, internship, and volunteer opportunities. That's really great to see. More activities or spaces for teens, and some other options included there as well. When are city programs, activities, or services most accessible to you? There was a fairly even mix of those selections there, which shows that variety is certainly a necessity. What barriers make it harder for you or your family to participate in community activities? Again, a mix. Top 3 at a glance here: scheduling or time constraints, cost, and not knowing what's available, or lack of information or awareness. How do you usually hear about community activities or events? School messages or flyers? Top selection: friends or family, we love a warm referral. And finally, social media. And then these didn't so much have quantitative outputs. These were open box answers where students could write in. And that's data that I'll have for you more in just a minute. But this will give you a flavor of the questions. In your opinion, what is one thing that the city could do better to support kids, teens, or families? If you could share one message with the mayor and city council, what would it be? How could the city better partner with schools, families, or community organizations to support teens? Oh, and it looks like we have a duplicate. Sharing one more message. So that was the survey. Those are what the qualitative results look like. And I'm gonna do a quick summary of what those qualitative results look like as well. Thanks again to San Juan Unified School District and their communications team. They facilitated this survey through their website on their platform, which allowed us to provide it in multiple languages. We saw engagement in both Russian and Spanish language as well, and they helped us put together these data summaries. So thanks again, San Juan. Also, as we're reviewing it, these are summaries, but we cannot discount the importance of individual data because there were some real intelligent answers and zingers in all of those fill-ins. As an example, one very charming middle schooler and answered the question to what can we do better to support families and students. The answer was essentially to make school better and more interesting. And then in a subsequent question, if you had one message for City Council, what would it be? The answer was to cancel school. Honesty is the best policy, even when conflicting. So looking at some of that summary data for those qualitative answers, these are the themes that emerged along with some of the subpoints that ladder up to those themes. So first, we saw a strong desire for safe and welcoming spaces. There were concerns expressed around crime, drugs, and unsafe public areas. That really just underscores that teens want to feel safe when they're out in community and are looking for safe places to be. There's a desire for more supervision, lighting, and security in parks and public spaces, again, affirming that first desire. And they want spaces where they can feel comfortable gathering without being judged or moved along. Kiddos are just trying to have fun. Second, a need for more teen-focused activities and spaces. We saw things like requests for teen centers, hangout spots, recreation spaces, and events. The third theme was that affordability and accessibility matter. There were some concerns expressed that programs and activities can be too expensive. Again, this is a holistic definition of events and activities, not necessarily the free events that the city offers specifically. And transportation and timing both can be barriers. The fourth category was a desire for cleaner, better maintained community spaces with an underscore on parks and streets, concerns about trash, vandalism, and neglected areas. I can also tell you, as a community engagement leader for the city, it's heartening because we receive quite a few consistent inquiries from students interested in hosting cleanup parties, supplies, and wanting to activate projects to really engage in this beautification space. So it's not just the desire. We see students expressing interest all the time in being a part of the solution. Fifth, there was a theme of mental health and well-being support, a need for more support for stress, anxiety, and mental health that includes safe outlets and positive environments. Sixth, better communication and awareness. We saw in the data, they hear about events mostly directly through school, social media, or word-of-mouth referrals. So there was a perceived lack of awareness of city programs and an underscoring of more youth-friendly communication. Seventh, there was a desire for voice and inclusion in decision-making. I remember wanting this as a teenager as well. They want their ideas taken seriously, and they have great ideas. We heard them just recently hosting a government day for our 2 local high schools where they pitched projects. I can attest, they have great ideas. And there is inherent interest in youth advisory roles and involvement in planning, and there's an appreciation for being asked, maybe more than once, to make sure it sticks and the invitation is authentic. Finally, there is a theme of stronger partnerships with schools. There were ideas about how to activate more collaboration between city and schools, although I think we can safely say that does not include canceling it. Programs, events, and resources connected to their school sites, and easier access to activities. So those were some of the themes. The survey is available if you'd like to dig through those individual responses. With all of these themes in mind, city staff, as well as council and district leadership, we chewed on this data during a school city 2x2 meeting, which is our local government jargon for when 2 of our leaders come together along with associated staff to do quarterly updates around collaboration, organizational relationship building, and cross-sectional support. So we presented this data, and together we asked the question, well, how do we tackle some of this, and what's a good next step? And through that dialogue, in that meeting, we ended up connecting a couple of dots. We connected the dot of more communication and awareness. We connected a dot of connecting school and city government directly, and we connected the dot of wanting more youth-friendly events. And I'm going to show you how. So in a follow-up, to show we're listening and to create results for these students who engage in this way, we produced a follow-up letter from the mayor that said, we hear you. We saw what you wanted. That included free community events. And on the back of this letter is a full roundup of all of the city's free, family-friendly events for the rest of the year. Please put it on your fridge, tell your trusted adult all about it, and join us because we want to see you. Also, I just want to take a quick minute and give a spotlight to Marissa Brown, our communications officer. She designed this flyer, and it has such youth-friendly vibes. I love the call-out arrows that show the amenity that would mean the most to a student or a kid with visiting our event. For instance, live music at Citrus Nights, cookies and hot cocoa at the tree lighting. I'm positive that my youth at home would be easily convinced if they saw this flyer as well. So again, these were distributed to follow through on the survey promise of listening and responding, and to hopefully show them that there are immediate ways that they can engage and enjoy their community. And then perhaps most importantly, this letter announced the winners of the ice cream party. And I'm really excited to show you those results as well. So the first winner was Kingswood K-8. They had their ice cream party a couple of weeks ago. Part of the fun ideation that happened with this project was a creative application of a temporary wrap that turned our block party trailer into an ice cream truck, which definitely gave a full theme effect. Our staff came out in force along with our mayor. Another highlight, Mario Cruz in our facilities. You'll see in the top left, the line was hugely long and the kids were so excited. Mario went to extreme innovation lengths and started showing the kids ice cream on the way. He invoked both his dad and his youth baseball experience to effectively manage our lines. And then finally, another favorite experience during the event for me, you can see the mayor with 4 students in front of the ice cream truck. She was asked for photo ops from multiple groups of students who were starstruck to meet the Citrus Heights mayor. So that was really, really fun. In addition to that, I would say most, if not all, staff members who participated had the opportunity to engage with kids, and they asked such great questions that really showed us that kids think so much about their community, and they're engaged, and their eyes are sharp and open, and they have good ideas. And they were really, really appreciative about being listened to, which was great. So thank you to Principal Hanks for both the coordination of this project and for allowing us to host a party on the campus. The kids were definitely more hyper when we ended than when we started. We also learned, in case anyone else finds this information valuable, we learned that drumsticks are far and away the ice cream selection of choice for the junior high set. So let us save you some trouble and some trial and error. The answer is drumsticks. The second ice cream party happened at Sylvan Middle School. Thank you to Principal Latimer for making that happen. Our friends from the Citrus Heights Police Department came and helped us sling drumsticks as well, which was great. This campus has a large student population, so it had a little bit of a different vibe. I think probably my favorite moment from this ice cream party was that there was an idea from the student government teacher to play ice cream truck music, which totally added to the vibe, and I'm sure we're going to incorporate it in the future. So those were the results. It's our intention, most likely, to do this annually. We had such great results for a first-time inaugural project that our hunches will only see that engagement increase, see even more great ideas, and even more student engagement, which is the most important part, because as it happens, we have a really significant student engagement opportunity coming right up here. And I want to recognize and acknowledge Clerk Amy Van for stewarding this really, really cool program. The City of Citrus Heights is launching a Youth Advisory Commission. So it's an opportunity, again, for both listening and sharing from our youth and students to the City of Citrus Heights and City Council as well. They'll have a chance to build leadership and communication skills, learn how local government works, and really provide their voice to conversations. So information is on our website at citrusheights.net/Youth Advisory Commission. We're currently accepting applications, and we would love as many as possible. And then finally, there is one more ice cream party that we would love to see both youth and adults at. There's an upcoming City Scoop at Sylvan Middle School on July 15th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. And that concludes the presentation.
Thank you so much, Megan. Do any of my colleagues have
Yes,
questions
I
or
have
comments? All right.
Well done, Megan. I enjoyed it very much, so thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
I just have a question. Did you get any way to reach, is this thing on? I sound like I'm not. All right. Did you in any way reach out to homeschool kids? Is there a way to reach out to homeschool kids? For the Youth Advisory Commission ad that you have? Is there a way, I don't know if they have an organization of, because.
It's a great question that I don't have the answer to offhand. I'd be happy to check with Clerk Fan and also Communications Officer Brown to make sure that's happening.
Thanks, that's good. A great presentation. You did a lot of work. It's good. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Megan. That was a fantastic presentation. And I echo the sentiment of reaching out to homeschool kids. I think that's a great idea. I also love the idea of doing this annually. It seems like a great way to keep engaging with the youth.
Megan, I feel like we've truly partnered on this particular project.
It's true.
And I cannot emphasize how delighted I am with the results. The conversations that I had with kids about what the city does, what a mayor does, and it was just, it gives you hope for the future because they're so interested and they're so excited to learn more about the city. And I think we made great inroads with our treat of ice cream parties. So thank you very much for your efforts.
Thank you.
All right. Next item, please.
Next item is public comment. Members of the public may address the city council during the meeting. We ask that you please fill out a speaker sheet and give it to the city clerk. When you're called upon to speak, please step forward to the podium and state your name for the record. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes each, and the mayor has the discretion to adjust the allotted time. There's a countdown display that will flash red at the end of the allotted time. Consistent with the Brown Act, the council is prohibited from engaging in a discussion or taking action on any item not appearing on the agenda. And Mayor, I have 5 speaker sheets for this portion of the meeting.
Okay, wonderful. Let's have the first speaker.
First speaker is Brian Bushta. Following Brian will be Renee Williams.
My name is Brian Bushta. Forgive my appearance, my attire. I come straight from work. The issue of parking on the 6900 block of Greenback Lane has come up recently because of an accessibility issue of people being able to walk down the sidewalk, and I understand accessibility issues. After several meetings with the city staff, we were all brainstorming in different ways to be able to rectify the situation. we don't feel that, that the promises that were given are necessarily coming true, because we got a letter saying that parking is no longer going to be available on our street. We recently did just get chip sealed. That was wonderful. The last 2 times that the street got potholes filled, I filled them myself. I've lived on the street for 11 years. It's sad that we were not given any attention on our street until there was a complaint. There's been no trimming of the cypress trees or cleaning out of the beds that are under the cypress trees. They continue to overflow and clog the DIs that are right under them. When it rains, you can tell because the 40-mile-an-hour or 50-mile-an-hour traffic on Greenback splashes it over onto the frontage road. The potholes were filled one other time in the 11 years I've been there. We would like to keep our parking. If the cypress trees were trimmed, there would be enough room to pass between a parked car. There is room now with the cypress trees overgrowing, coming over the curb into the street, but you have to go pretty slow. There is sufficient room from setback of homes to take 3 feet of our yards. I know this because I measured them while we were meeting with employees of the city. I don't have their names. We have been recently working with Daniel, an engineer. Seems to be doing everything he can. Cars aren't safe if we have to park around the corner. My catalytic converter got stolen twice off my truck, and my truck has gotten stolen once, even though I'm only 2 blocks from the police station. Our property values will go down, but our property taxes will not go down. Please let us keep our parking. This was poor planning by the county, and we should not be punished.
Thank you, Mr. Bushka. Next speaker, please.
Next speaker is Renee Williams.
Hello, and thank you.
Welcome.
I'm up here today to ask for us to keep our cars parked where we've always parked before. I have lived on Greenback for 31 years in our home. When we came to Citrus Heights, it was 4 lanes, and there was nothing in the middle, no trees, no nothing. We've never had a problem until last year. And we have seniors, a lot of seniors live on the street. I'm a senior myself. I take care of 65 seniors in Orangevale that I've been there for 45 years, caring for the elderly. We have people on each side of us that have home health coming to take care of them. They are not going to be able to park on the street. Where are they supposed to go, and how do they get help? And that's my main concern right now, is the people on our street need to be able to park in front of their homes. It's never been a problem before. And I really think for the streets to be repaved. That's really nice. But I'm asking today, please let us be able to park in front of our homes. That's our home. It's been our home for 31 years. I take good care of our home. I do all the yard work. I make sure everything's cleaned up on the street, garbage that gets tossed out of Greenback, bottles and cans and whatever decides to come out of anybody's car. So I am asking for you guys to let us continue to live our lives on our street and let our seniors be able to get the care that they need. And none of us really have $20,000 to $30,000 to put in a driveway. It's just unheard of. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Next speaker, please.
Next speaker is Steve Dodson. Followed by Steve will be Dwight Clark.
Good evening, ladies
Welcome.
and gentlemen. My name's Steve Dodson. I'm a disabled veteran. Daniel told us that where we park our cars on the street on Greenback Lane there, that we're gonna have to pull our cars across the street by the bar or the taekwondo shop and walk across Greenback. I can't do that. So all of us here are basically up in arms because they want us to move off the street so it'd be open. Okay, give us someplace secured and safe that we could get back and forth. That's basically the whole thing that we're having a problem with Daniel and trying to get him to get his stuff done. So that's about it. Just, if you can do something with the parking, because there's no way I can do 500 feet over by the bar, park my truck over there or so, and then cross Greenback again. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dodson. Next speaker, please.
Next speaker is Dwight Clark. Following Dwight will be Roddy Smith.
Good evening. I am Dwight Clark. My subject is the same as the two previous speakers. I live on that 6900 block of Greenback, and I bought that home in 1990 prior to Citrus Heights being a city, and I'm very excited about it being a city. I have the same concerns that our other residents on the city have. In that 36 years since I've lived there, I only have one incident that was reported to me of a person having difficulty getting on the sidewalk in front of my house because the car was parked too much on the sidewalk, and that person was in a wheelchair, so we understood that. Happened to be my neighbor who no longer lives there, so we took care of it and moved the car for him. So only once that I'm aware of in that 36-year period that was a problem. As my current vantage point is in my study. I look out on the sidewalk. I'm there at the desk all the time I'm in that room. And I see people walking by. We have one car parked on the street and one car in the driveway. But I see people walking down that street with no problems at all day long. So I don't see the reason why there should be a restriction. And as Renee mentioned, my wife is handicapped. She can't leave the house anymore, so she gets visits from health providers, a doctor and a nurse 2 or 3 times a week. And, where are they to park? Or relatives, for that matter, that's visiting, like my daughter will be next week. And so do they have to park a block away and, walk to her house? I mentioned that to her doctor this week, and as you might understand, the doctor was not very happy about that decision. So my recommendation is no parking restrictions, and that we certainly allow areas on the sidewalk for pedestrians to walk by. So thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Next speaker, please.
Next speaker is Roddy Smith.
Welcome.
Hello. I've owned a house for 18 years on the street. For the last 10 years, me and some of the other people have been talking to the city members, and they told us they were going to take care of this. We're going to make it right. We're going to take care of it. We're going to make it right. We've heard this for 10 years. And now their idea of making it right is, guess what? We're doing nothing. You can't park on the street no more. You have to park 500 from my house, 524 feet we have to walk. That's if we get one of the first parking spots. There's 9 homes that are going to be displaced. So if we end up here at 524, the very first spot, there's 9 more cars. That's if everyone only has 1 extra car. If they have 2, that's 18 cars. And how do you think the people that live down at the end of the street are going to feel when they come out and they can't park in front of their house? This all relies one thing. They don't want to pay the money to have it done right. That's what it is. And I've been told by city members, the people who work in the office, that don't want to be disclosed, they don't want to spend the money on you guys. Because how much is it going to cost them to say, you get nothing? Pound sand, we're done. I'm missing it. It's going to make our values go down on our houses. How would you, if you tried to sell your house and you told people, oh, by the way, you can park in the driveway here, but you can't park in front of your house at all? Zero. I mean, if that's not gonna make the value go down, I don't know what is. We measured today, 524 feet. We got disabled veterans. He's a disabled veteran and he can't do it. He has 2 teenagers that he had to take because they couldn't take him anymore. And now he's gonna let his granddaughters, you think he's gonna let his granddaughters walk at nighttime at 10 o'clock when they get done working at Burger King, home in the dark? And they even told us at one point to park across Greenback Lane. I mean, there has to be there has to be a problem that we can fix. And the problem is, they don't want to spend the money. Bottom line, they just don't want to. And so, I hope you guys can see it. If someone took your parking away in front of your house that you had for 18 years, are you gonna go down without a fight? You're just gonna say, okay, because that's what they need to do? They told me 10 years ago, when we got this property from the county, they screwed up. Sac County screwed up. They shouldn't have put it in the way they did it. They made the medium too big, so it shoved us off to the side. They told me that. But they also said they were gonna make it right. And they've been saying they're gonna make it right for 10 years. We try to call them right now, they won't return any of our phone calls. I don't think it's, if you can do this to us, someone can do it to you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Any additional speakers?
No, Mayor, we have no requests.
All right. Thank you very much. Next item, please.
Next item is comments by council members and regional board updates.
All right, let's start to my right tonight with Councilmember Kelsey Nelson.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Looking forward this week, I wanted to talk about a couple events that I'm excited about. Firstly, Friday, we get to celebrate the police department, their 20th anniversary. So that is very exciting. The police do such a great job in our city, so really looking forward to that one. And then Stars and Stripes on Saturday. It will actually be my first time I'm able to attend because being so pregnant, I will not be flying back to New England with my husband like we normally do. So I'm very much looking forward to that event as well and can't wait to see the city out there.
Well, we'll be glad to have you. Councilmember Gina Karpinski-Costa.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Let's see, what did I do? Well, I had what's called jury duty for the Helen Putnam Award to review the applications from various cities throughout the state of California to apply for an award in youth in government. So there were 19 applications, and I cannot reveal the winners, but it was a good experience for me to see what other cities, at least 19 of them, are doing with youth in government as we contemplate going forward with our youth in government project. So at some point, we can see what cities, what programs got high marks, and others that did not. So it's good to look at what other cities do and compare what we can do and what other cities do. So I did that. I did go to the event at the center that was the league's, our division, we have different divisions of the League of Cities, and I went to that event. And our mayor did a good presentation, but Megan was outstanding. She did a terrific presentation on our development of our sports complex. And so we shared that information with other members of cities throughout the northern region, and it was well attended. Guys did a great job. Did the mosquito district. Mosquitoes, they're just coming up now. We've had that little kind of rain one night, just kind of enough to get in a cap of a bottle of soda that would be a great place for mosquito larvae to develop. So you need to make sure your water sources around your backyard are gone. So far, we tested 91 dead birds, and 5 were positive for West Nile. So if you find a dead bird, you can call the district. They will come and get it, or you can bring it in to our office. We've had 4 positive mosquito pools. So we set traps. We collect those traps once a week. We test all the little girls that are in the trap to see if they carry the virus. And so we've had 4 pools of mosquitoes that are positive. We found 15 female Aedes in Citrus Heights. Aedes aegypti are the mosquito that carry the exotic diseases that we don't currently have. We're trying not to have the mosquito, because once the mosquito's here, then the disease can transmit. So there are 14 of them in Citrus Heights. So when you get a day-biting mosquito that bites you during the day, please report it to the district. They'll come out, look for sources, and they'll try to eliminate the source. These mosquitoes don't fly very far, so if, you know, we're a hot spot. And not as bad as some other areas, but we're a hot spot. And then don't forget about yellow jackets. If you have a yellow jacket problem in your yard, to call the district, because we do take care of those. Then I went to the sewer meeting, nothing big to report. We work on our giant budget, and that was about that. I did go to my neighborhood meeting, and our speaker was Dementia, Alzheimer's Organization, lots of great information about that. Then I want to remind people with low vision that we have a low vision support group that meets at the Sylvan Library at 2 p.m. Our next meeting will be July 14th at 2 p.m. Get resources and various ways to deal with low vision. And that is my report.
Well, thank you, Dr. Jana. Tim, how about you?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. So on 6/17, I went to City Scoop. It was very well-attended meeting, very well-attended ice cream social. I was a little disappointed that we didn't have Leatherby's there. But hopefully the next one, because the mayor and I are going to go visit Leatherby's and say, hey, come to the next social is on the 15th of July.
Didn't we just give them an award of some sort?
We did. They didn't, anyway. So anyway, and then on the morning of the 18th, I went, we had a SACOG meeting, and we had the SACOG meeting remote. This was up in Placerville. They built an affordable apartment complex in Placerville. Very nice. The problem is it's not very affordable to build housing in this. So when I asked about it, it's 30, 40, and 50% of median income for the rent, and even still, the rents are still high. So that's kind of the gist of why it's so expensive. It's expensive when we build housing. It's really expensive to build affordable housing, so the housing at the end of the day doesn't turn out very affordable. So, that's it. But it was a very nice facility. They did a good job building it, but again, the rents are still going to be kind of pretty expensive, in my words, book. So with that, that's all I had.
All right. Yeah, it's a little bit quieter on all of our schedules because many of our organizations, boards and commissions are transitioning to kind of a light summer schedule. So you'll hear many of us have lighter schedules than usual. For myself, I attended our Sunrise Marketplace board meeting on the 11th. And the Sunrise Marketplace executive, Kathy Lynn Carpenter, presented at the SMUD Economic Development meeting as well the previous week, and so it was nice to be able to see the board members at the marketplace and hear again their support of our Sunrise Tomorrow plans and progress. On the 12th, as mentioned by Dr. Jana, we hosted the Cal City Sacramento Valley Region meeting where we did a fun walking tour of the mall, as it were, and walked the square foot, or not square footage, the acreage of the Sunrise Sports Center site. And there's nothing like walking in a particular area to get a feel for space. And it's become very apparent to me that it's going to be a very, very exciting build. And so stay tuned. On the 16th, I pulled double duty with our Citrus Heights Chamber Luncheon, where we featured Metro Fire, and they talked about fire safety and mainly safety for 4th of July. And again, it's a reminder just to keep your fireworks safe and sane. And if you let off aerials, we will find you and we will fine you. And those fines are no joke. If you have an Airbnb, we have a host ordinance fee and fine. So if that is owned by you, whether or not you know that your guests are doing these fireworks, it will be your responsibility when the fine comes to you. So please be safe. Enjoy our Stars and Stripes event, where you can get your fill of wonderful aerial shows. And, you know, if you're anything like my realtor in my area, they gave us a nice calendar, and you can look in all the newspapers, a nice calendar of other aerial shows in surrounding communities. So that's my PSA for tonight. The evening of the 16th, I attended my own neighborhood area meeting, where we had our city manager present on our budget. How do we get there? What's in it? How do we expend dollars responsibly in our communities? And on the 17th, of course, I attended City Scoop with Councilmember Schaefer. What a wonderful location, Tempo Park. If you do not take advantage of our amenities in Citrus Heights, you're missing a huge benefit, both just your mental health, because it is green, it is, you know, trees, and you hear the joy of happy families and children laughing and running around. And so just a wonderful event there. I am on the board of our Citrus Heights Chamber, so of course entrepreneurship and small business activity is very, very important to me. And I've enjoyed being on the board for the last 3 years. And I also interacted with a new group that's been formed in the area, Capital Region Elected Women's Group, where it's kind of a support group where women electeds get together and talk about issues that affect women in elected positions. And so we always have a lively conversation there. So just know that the mental health of your electeds are as important to you as they are to us. So, and with that, that is.
Can I have a question? You're on library board. I read somewhere that the library does a needle exchange program, and that they had a pilot program and we're considering renewing that program. Do you know anything about that?
Yes, we actually had a meeting on that at our last, there was a public comment on that, and they are evaluating that program because there was quite an outcry about that.
I would suspect
Yeah,
so.
especially safety for youth, who are our primary audiences at the library. Thank you for asking. It's a good question. All right. With that, let's get to our next item.
Next item is the consent calendar. Item 8 is approval of minutes. Item 9 is initiate proceedings for fiscal year 2026-2027, annual update for landscape maintenance assessment district, number 97-01, zones 1, 2, 3, and 4. Item 10 is to initiate proceedings for fiscal year 2026-2027, annual update landscape maintenance assessment districts, numbers 98-01, 98-02, zones 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 03-01, zones 1, 2, and 3. Item 11 is the Citrus Heights Assessment District, initiate proceedings for fiscal year 2026-2027, the annual update. Item 12 is to review the Sacramento Stormwater Quality Partnership Program and authorize fiscal year 2026-2027 expenditures. And item 13 is approval of master services agreement with Hinderleiter de Llamas and Associates, HDL, for sales and use tax analytics and related revenue services.
Move approval?
All right, so I have a motion for approval. Before we second that, are there any items for discussion? Questions, comments? Okay, I will accept your motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Okay. Next item, please.
Next item is public hearing number 14. The subject is compliance with Assembly Bill 2561, Government Code Section 3502.3, regarding vacancies, recruitment, and retention efforts. And the recommendation is for the city council to receive and file the presentation.
All right, the way we run public hearings are we hear the staff report, we open for public hearing, take any comments from my colleagues here at the dais, close public hearing, and then we make our recommendation if there needs to be one. Good evening.
Just ran in. Good evening, Mayor, City Council. My name is Melissa Rojas. I'm the city's Human Resources Manager, and I'm here to give you a presentation on the city's vacancies and recruitment
Pull the
and retention
microphone a little
efforts.
closer.
You got it.
There
A
you
little better?
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you. So Assembly Bill 2561 requires that public agencies present the status of vacancies, recruitment, and retention efforts on an annual basis. So the city is required to track our position vacancies, hold a public hearing once a year prior to the adoption of the budget, which we are doing here today, and identify any necessary changes to policies, procedures, and recruitment activities that may lead to obstacles in the hiring process. If the vacancy rate in a bargaining unit exceeds 20%, there's additional obligations that also apply, but we do not, nothing triggered those obligations tonight. And this is in Government Code Section 3502.3, and as a reminder, this is just an informational item, and the City Council is not being requested to make any action on this. So in 2015, so July 1 of 2015, the city had 215 full-time equivalent positions. And of that workforce, 43% are general staff, unrepresented employees. The Police Officers Association makes up 38% of our workforce, and the Police Employees Association makes up 19%. Our 2025 vacancy rate, the city experienced on average about a 10.5% average vacancy rate for the year. So you'll see on this chart in January of 2025, our starting employee count was 187 employees. We had 3 separations that month and 1 new hire. Our ending employee count for that month was 185. With 210.75 authorized positions at that time, that left us with a 12.22% vacancy rate for that month. And you'll see each month we have the vacancy rate outlined. Total new hires for 2015 were 19, and we had 20 separations. So of those 20 separations, 5 were retirements, or 25% were retirements. So we had a net from January, 187 employees to start off the year, and then to end the year in December, we had 186 full-time equivalent employees. So by labor group, we have 2 employee associations, like I said, the Police Officers Association and Police Employees Association. The average vacancy rate for the year for the POA was 14.61%, and the Police Employees Association had an average vacancy rate of 5.75%. And like I mentioned before, the citywide vacancy rate was about 10.5% for the year on average. So that was 2025. So currently, as of June 22nd of this week, Monday, these are our current vacancy rates by department. So you see the vacancy rates for City Manager's office is 20%. And although that's one position that is comprises 20% of that department. Administrative services, we have 3 vacancies right now, which is 18% of the department. We're fully staffed in our community development department. We have 19% vacancy rate in general services. I am very happy to report that we have a principal civil engineer reported, hopefully starting next month, which is phenomenal, and we also have a custodian in background process. And we are prioritizing those recruitments very much in human resources. Where we have a fully staffed economic development and community engagement department, and our police department right now does have a 12% vacancy rate currently. So some of our recruitment and retention efforts for the city has a competitive pay and benefits package for its employees. We do periodic study of salary and benefits in jurisdictions in nearby in our region to make sure that we offer a competitive pay package for employees. We offer alternative work schedules for employees, 980 schedule, and in our police department, we offer 410s, which is really nice for a work-life balance. The city prioritizes organizational development and training, and so and the picture here is actually our graduates from this year's Sacramento Valley Leadership Academy. So we had 2 graduates this year, and that is our way of investing in our future leaders for our organization. And the city also has a very robust tuition reimbursement program that it provides to employees to provide them with $1,500 per fiscal year towards the cost of tuition and books if they're seeking higher education, associate's degree, bachelor's degree, which is a really great recruitment and retention pool and be able to build up our future leaders. The city also has several employee recognition events that we have. We have an internal sunshine committee who puts together things such as national celebration of National Cheese Day and other things just to get some good employee engagement going on. We have an enhanced employee wellness resources EAP program where employees receive 8 to 10 counseling sessions. They have for free through the EAP. We also have culturally competent providers for our law enforcement professionals. And then in our police department, we have an on-site gym and an hour of dedicated workout time for our public safety officers. And we're very proud of the sabbatical that we provide for our sworn officers, which provides them 4 continuous weeks of time off to spend to rest and relax so that they can come back refreshed and be able to serve our community even better. Some hiring obstacles and areas for improvement in our recruitment process. We continue to have the same problem that a lot of public agencies have. Difficult to fill positions are licensed engineers and, of course, our sworn officers. And so we're looking at ways where we can enhance our outreach efforts for those difficult to fill positions, partnering with the police, the PST division in the police department to see what we can do to make sure that we're getting laterals in here as well as, because it takes a lot less time to get them out on the street and operational. And so one of the things I've done for licensed engineers in the past is I did postcards. Kind of went away from the technology of something in your face or on your screen where I would just send out postcards, and that was successful in the past. So we're looking at some of those enhanced outreach efforts that we can implement. And then also, I have been here for 4 months, but there is some opportunities I think we have to streamline our recruitment and selection process. So we're also going to continuously look at those. And that's the end of my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have those.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Are there any initial comments? Yes, Dr.
Just
Jean.
a question. What's considered average vacancy rate? Is 12% high?
So it is. I did look at our neighboring our comparator agencies, and we are not the leader of the pack in vacancy rates, and it's not something that is alarming. I think the 20% threshold is what would trigger those additional reporting requirements, and that would be an indicator that there's maybe something wrong if we were outside of what our neighborhood jurisdictions are experiencing in terms of the retention rate or our vacancy rate for those. But we do have an 89% retention rate, and that's the thing that I look at the most. Because I want to see, and there's natural attrition, and anything above a 90% retention rate is usually a really good indicator, and we're right there at that cusp. And so I think that we're in a good position.
Are all the vacancies jobs you would fill if you could fill, or are they just placeholders for just in case scenarios?
Generally speaking, they are. We would fill them if we could fill them, but it would all depend on, City Manager Feeney would be able to speak to that a little bit better than me, but to my
I
knowledge, we
sometimes
don't
think you
have
wanna
any
keep one
frozen.
in case you need it, but, it's a vacancy, but you're not really looking to hire, active
Yeah.
hiring. Yeah.
Sometimes that happens, but I don't have anything prepared today to discuss on that, but I could prepare something if you needed more information.
Any other questions? All right.
I do have
Yeah.
one question. So, when you talk about engineers and police department folks, if you could fill those positions, how much would that reduce our vacancy rate? Would it be significant?
It would, I think so, because our biggest employee population and the most positions we have are police officer positions. So we have 69 FTE, police officer positions, and we're down 12 of those right
Yeah, that
now. And
sounds
so that would be a big chunk.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay, this is a public hearing, so I will open public hearing. Do we have any speakers for public hearing?
We have no requests.
Okay, we get to close public hearing. And this is a receive and file presentation. So any other comments before we let our staff go? All right, thank you so much for your report.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Next item is regular calendar, item 15. The subject is fiscal years 25-26 and 26-27 mid-cycle budget review, financial forecast update, and appropriations limit for fiscal year 26-27. The recommendations are to adopt a resolution approving amendments to the fiscal year 2026-27 budget and adopt a resolution establishing an appropriations limit for fiscal year 2026-2027.
Before you get started, Susan, I wanted to point out for the general public, and please correct me if I have the incorrect download. In the staff report, it is labeled item 14, and in our agenda, it is item 15. Can that be corrected if for any reason that is still true, just in case it wasn't updated?
We can fix that. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and council members. Susan Talwar, Administrative Services Director, here presenting to you tonight the mid-cycle budget overview. So real quick tonight, what we're going to do is go over our projections for our current fiscal year, that is fiscal year 25-26. Back in March, we did bring in the mid-year update, and from there, it's a point in time up through April 30th. And then we will go into our 26-27 budget adjustment request. That's for our upcoming next fiscal year, starting on July 1. And further, our GAN or appropriations limit request as well. The items that were presented in the agenda packet and are being reviewed tonight were reviewed with Finance Committee on June 9th of 2026. Just wanted to give a quick overview of our general fund revenue. We hear this time and time again. It is also displayed in our budget in brief. You can see that our largest portion of our revenue source is sales tax, and I'll be going into those a little more in detail. And second to that is our intergovernmental revenue and our property tax. For our sales tax revenue, of every dollar that we receive, or every dollar that is spent, 7.75 cents of that is charged for sales tax. And our city receives about 1%, or 1 cent of that, rather, excuse me. And when it comes to property tax, for every dollar, we get about 8.4% for the city of Citrus Heights. So for our projections for 25-26, revenues are projected to come in over about $536,000, while expenditures, we are coming in below our budgeted expenditures of about $1.09 million. So our year-end projection, we're looking at an operating surplus of about 3.8 million. And largely, that's mostly attributable to vacancies that we have, as Human Resources Manager Melissa Rojas just mentioned. So when we go into our revenue projections, we have a consultant, HDL, that we basically consult out with, and the anticipated revenues that we have coming in for taxes and franchises is about $36,000 below, which is about 13.93 million in property tax revenue. And for license and permits, we are projecting to exceed by about 500,000. Investment revenues, with our larger reserve balances, we have been able to take advantage of the higher interest rates, and our estimated budget is about 1.9 million. Salary and benefits on the expenditure side, we knew this year for our biennial budget, we had a vacancy factor that we had incorporated into our budgeting and financial model. That was at about 5%. And as just mentioned earlier in the item before, we're at about 10%. So we factored about 1.5 million, that is about 5%, and we're coming in beyond that as far as the savings is concerned. The other point that we had was the unfunded actuarial liability came in at about $83,000 below. So most of our savings has been mostly to salary and benefits. So going on to the mid-cycle adjustment. So this is for 26 and 27. Revenues, we are looking at projecting over about $172,000 above the adopted budget from last year. And in expenditures, we are looking at expenditures at about $350,000. So when it comes to taxes and franchises, sales tax revenue, when we budgeted for it last year, was coming in a bit higher. So this year, when we reran the numbers with HDL, it came in at about $307,000 below. And this is a trend that we have continuously seen over the past few years, where revenues in sales tax kind of are flat or declining. Every year they take a little bit of a dip and try to go up, and a little bit of a dip. So we've been averaging about $300,000 of a dip every year since I've been here, at least the past 4 years. Property tax revenue is about $170,000 below is the projected budget, and what we're seeing is people are not moving. A lot of folks are married to their rates with the higher interest rates as well. And the same for our TOT, we're projecting about a $15,000 decrease, and that's mainly because of the previous trends. We're seeing that the trend is coming in low, so we wanted to make that adjustment as well. Motor vehicle and lieu fees, there's also a decrease of about $34,000 there. And back to our investment revenues and use of money, that's where we're seeing I guess what's kind of saving us right now in some of those decreases is the investment revenue. And that's, again, our reserves are well enough that we can take advantage of those higher interest rates to offset the flat and declining sales tax revenue. On the operating expenditure side, we have a couple of increases. Most of this that you see here today was brought in mid-cycle and is a carryover. So as an example, in the Administrative Services Department in Information Technology, there's about $184,000 of increased costs, and that's mostly attributable to software and licensing costs. We've seen a pretty big increase of about 5% to 10%, depending on the type of license or software that we have. In non-departmental, there's a re-budget of $100,000, so there is a $100,000 savings or that funds that were not used for professional services that we will be rebudgeting for the next fiscal year because of the project taking a little bit longer. So no real net impact there. On the police department side, we have a one-time increase of about $27,000, and similar to the mid-year adjustment that we did for 25-26. We're requesting for 26-27, that is to address the uptick in new police officer recruits. In economic development, similar to non-departmental, we are requesting about $35,000 to cover the costs of, well, $25,000 of that is a rebudget of funds for the update in banners. We were not able to get to that because of the the advertisers being behind on their work. So that's going to fall into next year. So rebudget, net impact of 0. And the other difference is to cover grant and assistance costs. Any questions that I can answer?
Any questions? All right. Is this the end of your presentation?
No, I just
No.
wanted to cover
Okay.
the fiscal year 26, 27, if there's any questions on the adjustments for the upcoming fiscal year. I just wanted to give a quick update on the ARPA funds. We received about 15.6 million funds from ARPA for the grant funding, and that was to be committed by December of 2024 and fully expended by December of 2026. To date, about 15.2 million has been expended, and we have about $430,000 left remaining to be expended. And you can see right there, mostly attributable to the BC team, beautification crew, and also the communications center as we start to see some of those bills come through. And our last item here is the Gannon appropriations limit. We are subject to an appropriations limit, so of our total revenues, the amount that we have, or that is limited to what we can spend, and we have at about 77.7 million is our appropriations limit for the city, but the remaining capacity that we have is about 36.8 million, so the available capacity is 47.5 million. We're well below within the means of what our restrictions are or limits are.
I do have a comment on that.
Yes.
So you gotta have,
Oh, I can.
you gotta have the money before you can spend it. So, just because we have appropriations capacity doesn't mean that we have the money to spend. So, just so we're clear on that.
That's correct. And I just wanted to go through the general fund long-range financial forecast. We are projecting here, as mentioned, about 3.8 million as surplus into our reserves. Now, if you look into that, there is the ARPA funding that we have there and our 4 million in streets. And we do continue to prioritize that within our model throughout the years. And we also have the urban facility improvements. So our projected ending reserve balance for the general fund is about 36.5 million, which is well above the city council policy of 17% and the 25% of the city manager's policy target. And for 26-27, we adopted a budget that was at a net operating position of 1.1 million. With the streets, it draws down the reserves a bit, bringing it the ending reserve balance to about 33.7 million. We are projecting with the net impact to budget from the items just presented tonight in the requests, it draws it down a little bit, about 1 million. We have a sale of a property potentially, plus continuing with streets, so we're projecting at about 33.9 million ending reserve balance.
Can we pause for just one moment? You had a question.
Yeah, while you have the slide up here, and you covered the 4 million out of our general fund, but for the edification of the audience, we have about $8 million between SB 1 and Measure A. These are sales taxes on gas, in addition to the 4 million. So we're expending about 12 million a year on road repairs. So I just want to make sure that's clear. Most cities are not spending money out of their general fund. We have allocated 4 million out of our general fund for road repairs, and that's a really important point.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And reminding that on July 1, the gas tax goes up, so fill up your tank before July 1.
With that, we have the two recommendations here tonight. I'll take any questions.
All right, first let's take questions. Do we have questions, comments?
Good.
Okay.
I do have a comment, actually.
Yeah.
Please, Mayor, thank you. I just appreciate how we have this report, and it shows how we can stay nimble and, act on things on a more consistent basis than maybe other cities do. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
And I will have to add that it's very interesting, and I want to encourage all of our residents to shop local. It really does make a difference in our community. Just because your Amazon package is delivered to your door does not mean we get to enjoy any, not a 1 penny of those deliveries. And so if you can get out and shop, you know, we don't have to social distance anymore. We like each other, we like getting out there and patronizing our local shopping opportunities.
So when I pay tax to Amazon, city doesn't get anything? City's got to go somewhere.
We,
City of Sacramento gets most of it,
right, we don't get it.
wherever the warehouse is, that's most of
Oh.
it's there.
We get a very small percentage.
We
from
we
that.
do get a portion of it. It's where it's delivered.
It's where it's delivered. So it comes to your
It's-
porch.
There's a lot of debate around this topic because there's like some county pool allocations, but those that have like these distribution centers and where they're getting the lion's share, certainly, but there's a lot of talk. And I know there's a city managers group that's working to potentially have to look at some sort of ballot measures or some sort of amendment that would redistribute some of those funds, but there's winners and losers in that conversation for various cities. But the message about shopping local is a very good message, and certainly we see our share of that fully. When those online purchases are made, it goes into a pool and it gets, well, like most pools, you get diluted greatly.
So if I could just add to that, so a few years ago at Cal Cities, this was a big issue. And I don't remember what the bill number was, but it was a measure that was passed by the state legislature that says the vast majority of the sales tax is paid where the product is shipped from. At the Amazon, typically on the Amazon. All the other deliveries are they're paid where they are delivered, but that's pretty much exclusively for Amazon. Amazon, we get very little of I think we get a little slice of the Amazon piece, but it's not as.
Yeah,
not regular.
it is, to your point, it's a sliver, and that's why there's all these race to get these distribution centers for some jurisdictions that have these big industrial lands, because there is an economic incentive, but it sure has caused a problem for our traditional way that revenues come in. I mean, as Director Tawar spoke to, we do have a declining sales tax revenue in our city, and it's happened year over year, and we're seeing that, and that's a trend that she's paying very close attention to as we're forecasting, you know, our long-range revenues. To the point that was made, we do have the reserve funds, you know, and also thinking about a reserve fund, 25% reserve. That means we have 90 days of cash on hand. You know, that's what it really means. And so sometimes I think people hear, oh, 25%. Well, I think most would agree that's probably a good budget practice. I would say too, though, having that, you could hear with where interest rates are, that's what that offset is on that declining sales tax revenue. If that reserve greatly diminishes or rates come down, that creates a challenge because that offset won't be there anymore if those trends around sales tax continue. So shopping local is absolutely critical, and we will continue the fight, you know, to ensure that we're getting our fair share for the online sales tax. But that's something that's definitely a statewide issue, and I know with the League of Cities, we'll continue to have discussions around what some solutions could be that could be to our benefit.
I got one more comment, Mayor.
Great discussion
So-
on that.
Yes, and I want to thank the mayor for appointing me to the Financial Committee. I share that committee with her. We had an opportunity to sit down at length and go over the budget. And I will say that kudos to you and your staff. You did a great job explaining everything, and I think it's a reasonable approach that we're all taking to look at this budget and look at it with a very concerning eye, I'll put it that way. So it's something that we should watch carefully. It's not time to panic, but nonetheless, it is something we should be vigilant about, making sure we don't overspend.
And I want to point out that I urge people to read the city manager's message to the city that is posted on our website. It was in a couple of other media resources. The beginning of this staff report of our budget that's in our packet tonight is available as well. and I could hear your words as I was reading it. So I just want to thank you for recognizing fiscal prudence that our council has given direction for. And I'm sure if Portia were here, she'd nod her head too.
Thank you, Councilmember Karpinski-Costa. Yeah, we want to make sure we're very transparent with our community about our budget position, and it is something that's very dynamic. Is to the points that were made, we have to pay close attention to it because all we know is things can get out of hand in a hurry, like we've seen in some of our neighboring jurisdictions that are currently having to deal with structural deficits. So the fiscal prudence charge that you've given me and that our executive team carries out, I'm proud of the way that we've come together to do that, but it is something that, we're always minding the farm on those revenue projections and then also controlling costs in a way that we're able to sustain the city in the long term.
Now, how are we going to spend the rest of that ARPA money?
It's already spoken for.
Oh, where's it going? Where's the ARPA money going?
I think it's going to the Emergency Response Center.
We need to look at
Between the
chart.
beautification crew, we had that project, and also the communications center,
Yes.
Oh,
the emergency response center, yeah.
no party? All right.
I'm ready to make a motion.
Yeah. All right. So let's, we have two resolutions in front of us. Can we have a motion on the first,
Do we
A?
do them separately?
Ryan, do we take these together or separately?
Separately, please.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'd like to make a motion, adopt Resolution 2026, resolution of the City Council of City of Citrus Heights, California, approving amendments to the fiscal year 26-27 budget.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, let's hear the next motion.
I make a motion that we adopt resolution number 2024. What did it say?
That should be 26, I apologize.
Yeah.
Okay. Adopting resolution 2026, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Citrus Heights, California, establishing an appropriation limit for fiscal year 26-27.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? All right, motion passes. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next item, please.
Next item is items requested by council members, future agenda items.
All right, do we have any items? I hear a hand raise, yes.
Thank you, Mayor. So I'd like to ask for one of my council members a second in examining. I'd like to get a report on the 69 issue with the 6900 block of Greenback Lane. I'd like to know what the issue is in detail. I know a little teeny bit about it, but I'd like to know in detail and what solutions are on the table.
I'll second that, and I appreciate you bringing it up. I was going to if you didn't.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Looks like we have a new agenda item in the future.
Yeah, we'll
Thank
bring
you.
that back to you in a timely fashion.
Great.
Thank you. Any others? Any other ideas?
Yes.
Suggestions? Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
This one also comes from a resident who reached out to me wanting us to consider organic land care for our public spaces. So I'm really interested in studying it, seeing what options exist for us in the city, and how much it could cost, where we could have, maybe one corner or something, or consider a policy citywide. But this would essentially limit our pesticide use for our city maintained property.
Yeah, I'll second that because I want to know how much we use.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. That's another future agenda item. Thank you. Any others? All right, next item, please.
Next item is city manager items.
All right, well, good evening, council, members of the community. Ash Feeney, your city manager, and I do have a few updates, and we'll make sure to get both those items back to you in the future that you just referenced. So one, hey, we're nearing completion here on Auburn Boulevard, and it's looking fantastic, very exciting. This was a picture from last night of the arch being installed on Auburn Boulevard. And, that's nearing completion, as I mentioned. The majority of the work is done. All that night work is happening. We've got our road closures that are canceled. This new signalized intersection will be activated at the end of this month on June 30th, right before the 250th birthday, so, of America, which is fantastic. And the funds for this Gateway Arch, I've noticed there's a lot of comments around funding for this project. And, around tax dollars being used. And I can appreciate those comments. But I want to point out that most of the funding on this project were state and federal grants that were not displacing our local transportation dollars for road maintenance. This is using money out there that's state or federal money that's competitively sought, and it's going to get spent somewhere. So our team worked very hard to put competitive grant applications to fund a complete rehabilitation of Auburn Boulevard that otherwise would never happen. And so it's using money that's available from the state and the federal government that's going to go to some community out there in America, and it could be someone that's not Citrus Heights. And our team was able to procure those dollars to make them happen here in Citrus Heights for a consequential project that, in the long run, will certainly help change the complexity of Auburn Boulevard, and we see things redevelop. If your welcome mat looks good, you might want to go ahead and stop in a parking lot to spend some money, or I want to rehab that building. I mean, we had our barber from Trust Barber here tonight who invested. We're going to see more of that as a result of this, but I want to be very clear on that funding. It's mostly state and federal money that would go to some community somewhere. Why not Citrus Heights?
Point of clarity. I just want to make it really abundantly clear. This money is for this project. It cannot be spent anywhere else unless it goes to a different city, or this is, we can't just take this money from here and spend it somewhere else in the city. It is absolutely 100%, this is for this project, period. If we don't do this project, we got to pay the money back.
Yeah, I think that's well said, Councilmember Schaefer. It's not, and it's also not a zero-sum game. We're doing this consequential project in the city that's been underway for a long time, and we're also doing very significant roadway work like the city hasn't ever seen since incorporation. And I really want to thank, Director Cave, our city engineer Leslie Bloomquist, and all the team that's been involved in this project, as well as our pavement maintenance strategy, because we're seeing some real transformation around the city as a result.
Not to mention local jobs, the jobs that didn't go to some other city.
Absolutely, that's well said, Dr. Perkins-Picasso. I mean, that's very well said. A lot of jobs have been created out of this, and they come here and spend money when they're at their lunch break as well. So we're excited about this project going to complete, and the arch is going to look fantastic. Those columns will be outfitted with the stone and be complete here real soon.
Somebody will hit them, though. Someone's going to come down the road.
They're very substantial, so let's hope not. But it's certainly not a flimsy sign, if you will. Upcoming events. So we've got our Stars and Stripes celebration. That's this Saturday. So we're very excited about that. We've got live music from Big Crush. I understand they're a fantastic band, and come out. I mean, that Stars and Stripes, as the council knows, I mean, it's a very special event. You've got people with their shoes off dancing on the lawn. It's just a great event. Community comes together for that one, and I've never heard anybody say they didn't have a good time. They've had fantastic times. So that starts at 6 p.m. on Saturday at Van Maren Park. We have all of our parking that's pretty well dispersed, and there'll be signage for that, and there are golf cart shuttles for those that would like to wait a moment and get shuttled in. It's a first-class event, so we encourage our community to turn out and celebrate with one another at Stars and Stripes. There'll be the kids zone there, and then also, of course, we'll have the fireworks show that will start at 9:45. So it's going to probably be a little cooler out this time. Director Cave reminded me of that, so you may want to bring a sweater or a blankie for if you're going to stay for the long term.
Don't forget the mosquito wipes.
The mosquito wipes, we'll have those out in full force. We'll have our city booth, lots of food trucks, and just lots of, camaraderie and goodwill at that event. So very excited about this coming Saturday. And then, in honor of Independence Day, we will have our holiday closure on Friday, July 3rd to observe Independence Day. And that concludes my updates.
Question. When we had the chamber luncheon and Metro Fire gave its presentation on fireworks safety, they mentioned to the crowd that to report illegal fireworks to our non-emergency number at City Hall. But we have to remember that C-Click Fix is the reporting app that you can use to report illegal fireworks. And I just want to remind people of that, that it's, you don't have to call the police department. The app is good, and I don't know, I can't see very far to see if any of the police in the back want to address the fireworks reporting that we're going to have.
Yeah,
'Cause I hope our drones are up there in full force.
Yeah, absolutely. Last year, we had a fantastic showing, and I'm hoping the word got out to those that like to use illegal fireworks, that it can be very expensive, and that these drones are very effective in detecting where those are launched from. So if you're a firework lover, the illegal variety, and you're listening to this message, please don't, because it can be very expensive for you, and it can be
$1,000 per
very
firework.
dangerous. So we will have information that's going to be put out on those different reporting methods from our police department. But I'm so glad that you mentioned Sac Metro Fire, because I had sitting here in my notes, I wanted to have a gratitude towards them. And we had a pretty significant fire here over the weekend at Antelope and Auburn, and a number of homes were burned. There were 12 homes that were burned, and it could have gotten a lot worse, and that was really bad. But I will say from Chief House called me and let me know what was going on. You know, our Citrus Heights Police Department was already out there, of course, assisting Sac Metro Fire on the scene, and he was very complimentary of those that were there helping. It was just all across the board a very good demonstration of teamwork in the field through the communications. Several of us were talking throughout the day on the executive team, and were able to get information quickly to others. And then most importantly, those affected by the fire with Red Cross, coordinating with our first responders, we're able to get placement for those that are displaced. So I just want to thank Sacramento Fire. I want to thank Chief House and everybody that worked that fire, because those kind of disasters can go really bad. It was bad enough. And then also getting information to the community to understand, you know, what happened out there. So let's hope for a quick build for those homes again, but I'm just glad they were able to get shelter there.
Well, thank you, Ash. And let's see, what's our next agenda item?
Next item is adjournment.
All right, and with that, we will call our meeting to a close.